Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. I'm Bobby C. We're so glad that you made it here today. I just want to say that we had a very interesting week, and the good thing is that the kids are being able to play our winter sports. You know, the biggest thing that people were asking at the beginning of the season was, will they be able to finish out the basketball season without any issues? Well, we had a couple of issues. The first issue was the fact that Frontier Regional High School ended up being in a situation in week one where, because they had two towns that were in the red with Deerfield and Sunderland, they had to be able to forfeit their first week of starting the season and make up games on the back end, which is what they will do to finish out their season next week, this next week coming up here. This is the final week of our winter sports. Another situation that happened is that there was a girl that had COVID from Mohawk Trail Regional High School, which ended up causing a situation between them and the Franklin County Tech School because they ended up playing each other in the game that they played. That ended up having a COVID situation up at Mohawk. And with that said, it also ended up having a situation where they ended up having the girls from Mohawk and the girls from the Franklin County Tech having to quarantine for 7 days, which means that they lost some basketball as well. But it looks like this week they're hoping to be able to get things back on track. We do have some scores and some information that we want to share with you this week. And I want to say thank you to Lisa Albert of Albert Hearing Services, 33 Riddell Street in Greenfield. And also I want to let you know that Denny's Pantry, they are opening up next Monday. That's right. 1 week from today, they will be opening their doors. That'll be at 6 o'clock in the morning. Their regular hours will be 6 to 2 Monday through Saturday, 6 to 1 on Sunday. All right, let's get right to it. We have a lot to talk about. Well, last week on Monday, it was the Frontier Boys taking on the Franklin County Tech Boys. I was able to be there with Bear Country 95.3. And let me tell you, it was a true blowout right there. And here's how it went. Frontier 76, Franklin County Tech 38. That's right, 76 to 38. And really, it was all about the Redhawks doing everything right and being able to make all of their shots. I can tell you right now that the one thing that was very important about that night, it was senior night at Frontier Regional High School. And Ben Barshevsky did a wonderful job being able to honor his seniors. And those seniors were Ethan Michon, also Sean Richter, as well as Ethan Russell, Aiden Hernandez, and DJ Dragzovic. They all were able to get honored on senior night. He also wanted to say that it was a very tough season for them to have to go through their senior year, and he appreciated the patience and the job that the senior leadership has done for this team this year in a short season. Michon and Richter ended up with 12 points apiece in the win. Also, Ian Sperance ended up with 11. Ty Sadowski ended up with 11, and Noah Ostakaitis with 10 points for the Tech School in the loss. Also, last Tuesday, Turner's Falls took on Athol, Marcus Sanders, and Brandon Driscoll. Each had a very solid game. Final score was 70 to 42. Big win for the Thunder. That's right, 70 to 42. Sanders ended up with 25 points. He made 11 shots from the field. Driscoll ended up with 19 points. What a solid combination they have been all season long for the scoring of this Thunder team. Also, Brandon Truesdell had 7 for Turners, and J.J. Charles and Ali Pastera ended up with 6 points in the win for Turner's Falls. Well, there was a girls' game last Monday. It was Frontier girls taking on the Franklin County Tech girls. Final score was the Frontier girls 45 and the Tech girls 34. Can tell you that Frontier girls off to a very good start. Matter of fact, going into this game, they end up winning. They're now 4-1 on the year, and the Franklin County Tech girls are 2-4. Let's run down scoring in this one. Leading the way with 11 points was Kaylee LaFord. Also, we have Sierra Warren with 3, Becca Bridwell with 2, Also, Elena Poland with 2. We have Abby Howard with 4. Charlotte Doulette with 8. We have Summer Sobieski with 5 and Hannah Mackin with 2. For the Franklin County Tech, leading the way with 11 points was Kendra Campbell. Also, 7 points, Desiree Doan. Jemmy Cruz with 6. 5 points for Caitlin Trudeau. Emily Ryan and also Leah Chapman scored for the Tech school. Once again, 45-34. Tech girls get beat by the Frontier girls last Monday. Well, on Tuesday, it was the Hopkins boys with an easy win over the Franklin County Tech boys. Final score was 66-41. A 17-point first quarter, followed by 24 points in the second quarter, gave the Golden Hawks an easy 41-21 lead at halftime. Despite the score, Tim Artis, the coach of the Tech school, said that, yes, we played a really good team, but we did well tonight. We played well despite the score. 1,000-point scorer for the Golden Hawks, Andrew Siaglo. He ended up with 18 points. Also, Addison Pfeiffer and Colin Earl, they joined double figures. Pfeiffer had 12 and Earl had 11. Ty Sadowski ends up with 11 points for the Eagles in the loss. Ryan Artis and Dylan Demers each had 10 in the loss for the Tech school. Another score we could share with you, it was Athol beating the Mohawk Trail boys. Final score was 40-30. 40-30 was the final score. Back on Tuesday, Frontier boys took on the Greenfield boys. In a game, believe it or not, that for 3 quarters was dominated by Greenfield. That's right. Greenfield dominated this game for 3 quarters and literally lost it in the fourth quarter. They were outscored 19-7. 19-7 in the fourth quarter. And think about it. If you look at the score, they ended up losing by 11, but they were outscored by 12. And that was the difference on why Greenfield got beat at home last Tuesday. Leading the way with 19 points for Frontier, and that one was Joe Thompson. Also, 9 points for Sean Richter. We have Patrick Boyden. He had 8. Andre Widmer ended up with 8. Ethan Machon got into some major foul trouble. He ended up with 6 points. Also, Aiden Hernandez with 3. And we have Sam Schreiber with 1 for Frontier. Scoring for Greenfield, leading the way with 12 points was David Carey. 11 points for Mason Meadows. 10 points for Jake Sack. Also 6 for Mav Ward. And 4 from Henry Zwart. Frontier comes back, gets it done in the fourth quarter, picks up a 54-43 win over Greenfield. Well, on Tuesday, it was the Mahar Boys taking on the Turners Falls Boys. Final score was 61-31. This team from Mahar is very, very good. They have 7 seniors on the team, and this is the year that really is sad for Coach Chad Soptic. And the reason why I say that is these kids were looking forward to going to tourney and being able to play into a tournament with these 7 seniors. And he thought that at the beginning of the year, if these kids were able to play as hard as they have, that this could be a huge opportunity for this team to be able to go deep into the tournament. But unfortunately, because of COVID-19, they're only in the small bubble taking on the 8 teams that they were able to play with no tournament. Let's run down the scoring for Mahar in this one. There was a lot of guys who contributed. We have Jacob Karen. He ended up with 15. Jake Tenney with 17. We got Charlie Anderson with 2. We have Noah Chabot with 2. We have Matt Lasik with 8. Also, we have Aiden Savigny with 4. Hunter Martin with 2. And also Cole Johnson with 2. Every single kid on the team scored for Mahar in that 30-point win over Turners Falls. Leading the way for Turners Falls, 13 points for Marcus Sanders. Also, 1 point for Brandon Driscoll. Also, Ryan Duclos with 4. We have Levin Prondecki with 6. Ollie Postera with 3. Devin Sloan had four turners in the loss. Once again, final score last Tuesday, Mahar 61 and Turners 31. Well, another opportunity for a girls' game, and this one was the game between the Mahar girls and the Turners girls. And it was all the Mahar girls in this one. What a great team they have. Them right now and Greenfield are the two best girls team in our area. The final score was 50-18, all Mahar in this one, and they pretty much shut them down big time. Matter of fact, the biggest stat was the first quarter. It was 23-2 after one quarter, where the Mahar girls came out on fire under their coach, Larry Fisher, who has done an amazing job with that girls program at Mahar. So once again, final score was 50-18. Let's run down scoring in this one. Here we go. For Mahar, leading the way with 18 points was Delaney Parker. 15 points for Michaelin Melu. They have been the two scoring machines for this team. Also, Sophia Woods ended up with 2. Kendra Doan with 3. Sienna Moore with 2. Sailor Keggins with 2. Abby Henney with 3. And Natalie Baloney with 5. For Turners Falls, leading the way with 6 points was Lily Spira. Also, there was 4 points from Brooke Thayer, and then 2 points from Steph Peterson, Morgan Tobias, Emily Young, and Abby Holloway. So once again, the girls from Mahar with the win last Tuesday, 50-18. Well, the girls' game on Tuesday was a game between Greenfield and the Frontier girls. And let me tell you, the Green Wave have been on fire this year. That's exactly what they were on Tuesday. How about a score of 81-39? That's right, 81 points for the Greenfield girls as they won easy. Matter of fact, the biggest stat. Oh, somebody's yelling in the background there. Sorry. There was the second and the third quarters. It looks like the Greenfield girls dominated the second quarter, 23-9, and then 33-7 in the third quarter in scoring. Wow. After only being a 3-point game after the first quarter, it all changed as the Green Wave went on to dominate against Frontier, 81-39. All right, let's run it down for you here. Lily Kacklemeyer ends up with 24. Katie Hazelton has 18. 21 from Amber Bergeron. Also, 6 points from Ia Pruitt-Dahl. Looks like Tess Rancourt with 4. Azamina Sesajanin with 7. And Anna Bukala ended up with 1 for Greenfield. Frontier, they were led by 9 points by Becca Bridwell. Sienna Warren with 5. Also 5 points from Elena Poland. 4 points from Caitlin Mackin. Kylie LaFord ends up with 7. Charlotte Doulette with 7. And Molly Gates with 2. Frontier gets beat by Greenfield last Tuesday in girls basketball, 81-39. And some boys swimming and girls swimming. We have that for you as well from last Tuesday. In boys swimming, it was Nick Martin. He ended up winning the 50 free, and he ended up having a time of 27.6 seconds to pick up first place in boys swimming. Turners Falls, of course, is in a situation where they don't have enough swimmers. It's almost like wrestling. If you can't fill a slot, then you automatically lose those points. So we can't really go by how they're going to do as a team, because that's really not fair because of the fact that they don't have enough players. So they can't really go by that. And with that said, let's run down how the girls did. Girls had a nice winner in Jade Tyler in the 200 free as they took on the Renaissance School last week on Tuesday, and she ended up getting first place with a time of 2 minutes and 18 seconds in the 200 free. The 50 free, it was won by Isabella Licata, and she ended up having a time of 38.7 seconds. Also, the 100 free, 1 minute and 3 seconds, was done by Olivia Whittier. I'm going to talk about Olivia Whittier. She ends up being our sports athlete of the week, and we'll tell you why as we continue on with our sports show here today. In the 100 backstroke, Jade Tyler ends up winning that, 1 minute and 14 seconds. And in the 100 breast, it was Olivia Whittier winning again with a time of 1 minute and 20 seconds. So good job by these individuals from Turner's Falls doing a great job in swimming this year. Well, we slide into Wednesday as our Franklin County Varsity Sports Report continues here on this Monday afternoon at our brand new time of 4 p.m. And I thank you all for being able to tune in here today. Yes, it was hockey. And boy, this Greenfield hockey team is off to a wonderful start. They end up beating Chicopee Comp. Final score was 4-2. And with that win, Greenfield continues their big winning ways. By the way, this Chicopee Comp team was ranked number 6 of all the hockey teams in Western Mass, and Greenfield is ranked 5 of all of the hockey teams in Western Mass. Very special team again this year. And yes, they are undefeated. Let's run down how things went in that game on Wednesday for Greenfield scoring. I can tell you that Kyle Barnes continues his awesome year at GHS this year with a goal and an assist. Also, Aiden Roach ends up with an assist. A goal from Kevin Bauman. Also, Devin Niles had a goal. And Brody Gagney picked up his first varsity goal on Wednesday for Greenfield High School. Congratulations goes out to Brody Gagney, picking up that first of his career. Pretty cool stuff right there. Also, Josh Bordeaux, he ended up with 25 saves in between the pipes for Greenfield. Well, we had boys basketball on Thursday. Hopkins boys took on the Greenfield boys, a game that we were able to do over on Greenfield Community Television. And I just want to say that it was wonderful to have the opportunity to be able to do this game. I want to thank Philippe Simone, doing a wonderful job, and also our good friend Phil Syhowski for being able to get that on. We've been very fortunate to be able to carry high school basketball for Greenfield boys and girls on Greenfield Community Television. Well, it was all Hopkins in this one. Final score was 66-44. 66-44 was your final, but I will tell you that there was some big-time plays, and one guy was just totally on fire, and that was Colin Earl. Colin Earl from the Golden Hawks ended up with 22 on the night, 13 for Andrew Ciaglo. Also scoring for Hopkins in this one include Tyler Verdi with 2, Braden Truden with 5, Addison Pfeiffer with 7, Jack Feltovic ends up with 4, Jack Zena with 4, Cam Wade with 3, and Johnny Pibzinski, he ends up with 6 points for Hopkins. For Greenfield, in the loss with 16 points, leading the way was David Carey. A great game on Senior Day for Brody Baird, as Brody ended up with 13, Jake Sack with 2, Mav Ward with 7. Also, John Breer ends up with 2, and Henry Zwart with 4 in the loss for Greenfield. Once again, Hopkins, they continue their hot play. Them and Mahar, as well as Pioneer, are the top 3 teams in high school basketball in our Franklin County bubble, and that is for boys. Well, Turner's Falls took on the Franklin County Tech in basketball on Thursday. I can tell you that Turner's guard, Marcus Sanders, was definitely in the zone. He ended up with 38 points. 38 points. That is a huge day for that young man in that big win on the road, just right down the street from where he plays, over at the Tech School on International Boulevard. So there you, or is that Industrial Boulevard? I'll go with Industrial. That's what it is, Industrial. All right, let's run down the scoring in here. Someone had to do something besides Marcus Sanders, right? Well, I can share some more information for you that, yes, there were other guys who were able to get it done. How about that guy named Brendan Driscoll? He had 20. That's right, 38 from Sanders, 20 from Driscoll. There's 58 of your 74 points right there. Also, Ty Sadowski and Gavin Rubio, they ended up being in double figures. Sadowski with 13, Rubio had 12, Ryan Artis and Noah Ostakaitis each had 5 in the loss for the Tech School. All right, we slide right into our game between the Mahar Boys and the Athol Boys. And this was one of those games where if you ask Coach Chad Softic how his boys play, he'll tell you we went flat. We went flat. Final score was 50-34. They were leading by 14 at halftime, and that's when things really started to change. Matter of fact, in that second half, Athol played a better game than Mahar, normally blowing people out. And by the way, I wanted to share this stat with you. Athol, a team that hasn't won a game all year long, ended up having a chance to fight in this one, but they dug themselves such a big hole, being down by the 14 at halftime, they couldn't dig themselves back out and lose by 16, 50-34. Scoring for Mahar in this one, leading the way with 15, was Jacob Sharon. Also, we have 9 points from Jake Tenney, Charlie Anderson with 2, 3 from Noah Chabot, 5 from Matt Lasik. Also, Aiden Savigny ends up with 6, 6 from Connor Sluter, Cole Johnson with 2, and also Barnes ends up with 2. Every single kid on Mahar scored. Let's run down how it went for Athol. Leading the way with 14 for them was Vincent Gordon. Vincent Gordon was the high man for Athol in their loss to Mahar. Also, we got girls basketball on Thursday, where the Greenfield girls took on the Hopkins Academy girls. Well, they didn't score no 81 points in this one, but they did score 47, enough to win. Final score was 47-29 over Hopkins. And let's run down how the scoring went in this one. Leading the way for Greenfield with 20 was Katie Hazelton. 9 points for Lily Kacklemeyer. Also 8 points from Amber Bergeron. 5 from Eva Pruitt-Dahl. Tess Rancourt with 2. Azamina Sessajanin ends up with 3 for Greenfield. Scoring for Hopkins, their lead scorer was Casey Earl. She ended up with 10, leading the way for Hopkins in the loss. Once again, Greenfield girls, final score over Hopkins, 47-29. Girls basketball on Thursday, Mahar girls took on the Athol girls, and they won easily by 30. Final score was 67-37. After being up by only 10 at halftime, that's third quarter was the biggest problem for the Athol girls. They got outscored in the third quarter, 23-7. Let's run down all the scoring in this one for Mahar. Leading the way, Michaelan Maylou. Also 14 for Delaney Parker, 11 for Sailor Keggins. We have 2 from Sophia Woods. Also, we have Bernard with 4, Kendra Doan with 3, Sienna Moore with 3, 7 from Abby Henney, and Natalie Baloney ends up with 4. The lead scorer with 13 for Athol was Emma Bascalupo. So once again, Mahar girls win easily last Thursday, girls basketball, between them and their town rival next door, Athol. Hockey on Thursday, Greenfield boys continue their winning ways. They pick up a 6-2 win over Southwick. With the win, the boys continue to stay unbeaten on the year with no losses. They are, as of this Thursday game, 5-0-1, and they end up beating Southwick. Let's run down how the scoring goes in this one. Here we go. There was a lot of guys who contributed. Kyle Barnes ends up with an assist. Shane Prusek ends up with 2 assists. Sammy Knight with a goal and an assist. Aiden Roach ends up with 2 assists. Derek Lanois with an assist. Jacob Bryant with 2 goals and an assist. Devin Niles ends up with 2 goals. Trevor Kacheski with an assist. Brody Gagney picks up his second varsity goal. And also Gabe Boudrin with an assist. And in between the pipes with 22 saves is Josh Bordeaux. Greenfield continued their winning ways as they won against Southwick 6-2 on Thursday. All right. Well, the boys from Greenfield end up having a hockey game on Saturday as well. And that was a game when they took on Amherst over at the Collins Mullen Arena. They won that one 7-2. So that brings them to 6 wins on the year with no defeats and 1 tie. Despite being unbeaten this year, I can tell you that Greenfield has had a really hard time getting out of the gates, but they didn't in this one. It worked out really well MJ Pollen picked up his first goal of the season, and it worked out pretty well because it gave him an opportunity to get his team on the board the first 40 seconds into the game on Saturday night. And that was assisted by Shane Prusak and Devin Niles. Also, Amherst came down right after and scored and made it 1-1. So all of a sudden it was 1-1 quick. And then Greenfield really turned up the pressure. Here we go. They end up scoring the second goal of the night, and that was by Barnes. Kyle Barnes got it with an assist from Prusak on a power play. 34 seconds left in the period. Greenfield got on board again as they had an opportunity. There was a nice shot by Jacob Bryant that went off his stick, and then Barnes was right there. He picked up the opportunity, and there you go, 3-1 Greenfield. Barnes opened up the scoring in the second period. He was assisted by Derek Lanois and also Matt LeBoyne, and Greenfield started to move along. 19 ticks later, Barnes got his third goal of the night. And yes, Bryant and Roach picked up the assists. Greenfield went up big. They end up winning, and in between the pipes, it was Bordeaux. He ended up having another solid performance for Greenfield as they picked up the easy 7-2 victory over Amherst at home. Great job. All right, as we get ready to wind down the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report, we're winding things down. We'll talk about swimming, and then we'll talk a little bit about the final week of boys basketball and girls basketball and put a wrap on this year. Here we go. Well, Turners Falls senior Olivia Whittier. She is the athlete of the week. She is going to be my athlete of the week. There's many people I could say that have been able to do special things. Marcus Sanders scoring 38 points in a game earlier this week. We could talk about another person who had a great week in Kyle Barnes for the hockey team of Greenfield, but we got to give it to Olivia Whittier. Why? She has continued her superb season in the pool, and on Friday against Ludlow, she took first place in both the 50 free and also in the 100 breaststroke. Now, I want to tell you something. Through the meets that they've had all this year, Whittier is yet to be defeated. She has won every single race that she has swam in this season. How cool is that? Despite her team not being able to score wins because of the way that the season's set up and how it is, they don't have enough swimmers at Turners. It's really about individuals on how they do here in the sport of swimming. And that's what we're going to go by. And I'll tell you, their athletes are continuing to dominate the ones that are swimming in the pool for Turners Falls. And with that said, we can't go by what the score says, because if you look at the score, you're like, really? Yeah, the scorer says 97-26, but that's because Ludlow was able to fill every single slot with a swimmer that Turners could not. Let's run down some other folks that did well in that nice meet. Jade Tyler, she ended up taking second in the 200 free. Also, she took a third place finish in the 100 backstroke. Gracie Rosenberg took third in the 100 free, fourth in the 200 free. Isabella Licata, she ended up fourth place in the 50 free on the boys' side. Nick Martin and Will Rosenberg were the lone swimmers for Turners. Martin earning a first place finish in the 100 free. Also, Martin placed second in the 200 medley. Rosenberg took second in the 50 free and third in the 100 free. Well, there you have it. Final week of high school basketball and also for hockey. So this is it. Looks like swimming is winding down this week as well. So this is the final week of our winter sports program as we get ready for phase number 2, which will include volleyball, which will also include football and soccer. We will keep you updated. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Bobby C. Have yourself a wonderful, wonderful week.